close my eyes and I can see a world that's waiting up for me.
Hello students and welcome to computer science class. Our topic for today is the overview of a computer system. The overview of a computer system. When you were in junior secondary, J1 to be precise, you were taught the computer and all things about the computer. So what's a computer? I know basically you would say a computer is an electronic machine that processes data, accepts data to give information. That's the generally accepted definition. But that definition came from one man, and I call him John von Neumann. He's known as the father of the main definition of computer. Now, the definition you are defining in date was brought up by this man, where he made us to understand that a computer is more or less a program that sends data for processing, and the processing in turn gives it information. Now again, what is a computer system? A computer system is basically different from a computer. Just like you have in biology, you have a reproductory system, you have a system. Basically, if you want to define a system, you will say they are a group of components in your body working together to achieve a similar purpose. Likewise, a computer system. A computer system is a combination of various components of a computer that would work together to perform a specific function. I mean, all the components of the computer system work together to perform a specific function. And on that computer, you have various hardware devices that you can actually find. The number one there is we have the compact disc. Compact disc is known as a storage medium that is used to store data that is ready to be processed. Next is the CPU. The CPU is not the box. It's not the big box. It's not the case. It's not the system unit. The CPU is inside the motherboard, and it helps in the processing of data, and it comprises of control units, arithmetic logic units, and the memory. The CPU is very paramount. CPU is usually termed the CPU is usually termed the CPU is usually termed the brain of the computer. Next, we have the optical disk drive. In this part of the computer, that's where your CD is being slotted in. Every computer system has a optical disk drive. An optical disk drive, the diskette can go into an optical disk drive. A CD can go, a DVD can go. It helps for you to play recorded documents. Also, you have the power supply unit. Now, this one is what gives the system power. It gives the system power. Without this, the system can't come on. You can see a port there. That's where the power cable is being connected to. The top of it is called the fan. The fan, it helps in the cooling down of the computer. Next is the hard disk drive, also referred to as the ROM. Now, it helps in saving internal storage, an internal storage that helps in saving and storing information, data, instructions in the computer. The HDD is very, very important. Next is you have either you call it the modem, called the modulator and the demodulator. It's also called a router. It helps the computer to be able to access the internet. You can't access the internet without a modem. During our computer hardware class, we'll learn more on all this. You have the expansion card. Now, the expansion card, that is where all the ports in the computer have been connected to. It is more or less the mother of the entire component, because it is the receiver. In a nutshell, you can call it, it is the female receptacle of a computer because it receives current or signal from a main receptacle. Any cord that is being plugged into the computer comes directly to the expansion card. Now also you have the heat sink. Now the heat sink prevents the computer from overheating. I come again, the heat sink prevents the computer from overheating. At some point, due to regular usage or long time usage, the computer is tend to be hot. Now the heat sink helps to conserve that heat, and the fan of the through the power supply cord would supply air to cool down the heat. So the heat sink is more or less a conservative. And lastly, you have the motherboard. The motherboard is where all the components of the computer system is being inserted on. The motherboard is very different from the expansion slot, but the expansion slot is inside the motherboard. The expansion slot is inside the motherboard. The motherboard has all components found in the computer. There is no component in the computer that is going to be used without passing through the motherboard. The motherboard houses the entire computer peripheral. It houses the entire computer peripheral. And we have some characteristics of the computer. I arranged them in a lot of diagrams and a lot of charts. Now, the very first one we talk say computer speed. Computer has speed. The computer is versatile. When I say computer is versatile, it means that it can do a lot of things. Computer is accurate. A computer is always accurate, provided it's programmed well. A computer has no feeling, of course. It has no feeling. Anything you tell the computer to do, it does it without hesitation. The computer has no IQ. It is your IQ that you place in it that it delivers to you. The computer stores data, and the computer is very diligent. The computer is very, very diligent. It stores data and it's very diligent. Other characteristics of computer can include the computer is automatic. The computer is automatic, is reliable. Now you have a diagram of the components of a computer system. I want you to pay attention as I explain briefly what I mean. And this is a diagram of the component of the computer system. Let's say you have a data coming into the computer. That data is coming as an input device. Let's use a flash drive for example. A flash drive can be regarded as an input device. Now when you slot in the flash drive into the computer, it goes directly to the memory. Now when it goes to the memory, what does it do? It stores it in the memory. And when it stores it in memory, now it's now sent a message to the CPU. Now remember, the CPU is comprises of three components, which is the arithmetic logic unit, the control unit, and the memory. Now when it goes there, it tells you, okay, is it an arithmetic function or is it a logical function? Now when it has decided if it's an arithmetic function, the control unit now directs it back to the memory. At that point, processing is being done. And at the point of all this, it now concludes and says, okay, this is what the instruction is meant to do, and it sends it out and gives you the output after it has been processed, after it has been clarified. I come again, from input to the memory, from the memory down to the arithmetic logic unit, and the arithmetic logic unit confirms if it is arithmetic or logic, and then it moves to the control unit and that tells you you should now give it back as an output device. Now in all, this is the diagram of a computer. So thank you and I love you. See you in the next class where we'll talk more about.
Every night I lie in bed, the brightest colors fill my head, a million dreams